Hello there, this is Dr. Mars again, here to do a simple tutorial on how to turn off fill clocks using commands. There are lots of tutorials and many people who use fill clocks to drive all sorts of processing in Minecraft, but we came up with a way of turning them off automatically using offsets from ArmorStands, and I thought I would share that technique with you. So here we are in the computer room of the Enterprise 1701, and here we have some controlling command blocks that help us turn off our fill clock and turn on the fill clock, of course. So I'll start off by just turning on the fill clock so you see what it looks like. The fill clock in question is over here. It's called the warp display, which has the main warp clock in it. It's this spot right here. All these pinky red blocks you see here will be filled with redstone and drive all these commands that are underneath and above. And the way we turn it on is we simply go over here in front by the command consoles and have to reset the clock first. It may have already been done, but I do it just in case. And like I said, I flick this main control switch and the warp drive is active. Now let's go take a look. This is the fill clock going in the negative X direction. It's going from here on the right towards the left, and if we just check our direction on the on the left side, fourth from the bottom says facing west towards negative X. This is a negative X fill clock, and always do that. What that means then is that you have these two blocks driving the fill clock. The one on top here is a fill with the redstone. We see fill -1 from -1 down, then -8 because it's negative X to the same number -1. Fill that with redstone. Below it we have fill above 1, so that's Z1 above, and then negative X8 to that same X locations. So what we have here is a fill with stained glass. It can be anything you want, actually. It could be stone. A lot of people just use stone. But stained glass, I think, looks nicer in a dead state. Now, if we want to stop the clock, what we do is we come over here, and this is really what I want to show you. Going back over here, we have this particular switch here. Core primary off. And by pushing this button, see if you can see the effect immediately. You can see if I push this button, you see I'll try to get closer. Can't. There. If you see the fill clock in the background, when I push this, it'll go off. And I think this is nice because it doesn't mean you have to go around breaking command blocks in order to get things to stop. You can control things in a nicer manner. This command here, as we'll see, is the key. And it uses a little bit from what we talked about in the previous tutorial. It uses an execute from entity warp display var 3, 3 Z stones above, 3 above, block data at that location, and then we change the command of that block with a fill, and which looks like a standard fill of redstone, but actually it's a bit tricky. The way we like to do it is we want to leave the code there, but we put a hyphen. If you look very carefully, there's a hyphen right in front of that fill. This kills it from working. So basically this is the same as having no command at all, but it's good to keep the command in there, I think, for reference purposes. If you want to actually go in there and make it active, you can just remove the hyphen and this will then still run. So it's better to have the code there than not know what the code is at all. But by using this offset from warp display var 3, I can change that command block so that basically it stops running. And that's what makes the clock turn off when I hit the button and activate it. If we go back over to this block in question, you'll see that it has the hyphen here. When I turn on the clock, it'll be the same, except this hyphen is not there. And of course, just changing the code isn't enough, so what really goes on is once you've reset the code to be on, that's what this button here does. So I push that. You can see it's the same code as before, except now the hyphen is gone from the fill. I can confirm that by going over here, looking, no hyphen, so this will run now. And then when we go back to the main console and hit the main lever, everything turns on. Now what this is doing, if we take a look at the code here, is we're setting a block at that similar location. This is execute at the same warp display var3 entity 2 above, which is right inside the fill clock itself. I set a block of redstone. That kicks off the process and gets the fill clock running. So we've automated the start of the fill clock without having to actually go and place it there ourselves. Now the thing that I showed last time was the offsets from the entity, the ArmorStand that's here, and a little tough to see it at the moment. Let me stop the clock again. There's its name, warp display var3, and maybe as a tip, it can be sometimes tough if you don't make the name always in display like that using a I've lost the command that was here. You use a entity data at E, and you can say something like R equals 2, so any entity within a range of 2, and then you just say custom name visible set to true, and that will make those names always display over their heads and help you remember. If you can't remember to do that, then something else you can do is just say at E R equals 1 or 2, let's say 2, hi, and it shows me and then the name of the ArmorStand that's here. So when you've got lots of ArmorStands laying all over the world, just using that quick say at E R equals 1 hi is a great way to have them speak back to you and just give you their names. So if the name is invisible, you can check that way. And we're doing an offset from this ArmorStand. That's what lets us easily change the contents of the block. And it also makes it very easy. I can move this block anywhere I want. Using the information I gave in the previous tutorial, we know that we can now move this block anywhere and it'll still work just fine. So that's it for today. Just wanted to show how we're using this technique to start to turn on and off clocks, and we use that in many places around the ship. So as we get into more tutorials, you will see a lot of that going on, and I thought maybe I should just make it clear what we're doing. So thanks very much. I hope you found this interesting, and we'll see you next time. Take care.